Good evening, and welcome to the Fortean Slip. I am the mastermind of all things shadowy and evil.
The term was ringleader.
Oh, ringleader. I'm the ringleader.
Wasn't that it?
I don't fucking know. I'm gonna get me a curly mustache, a top hat, and a fucking big top.
Oh yeah, like one of those characters from one of the silent movies, the evil guys.
Yes. Well, no, like the ringleader in a fucking circus.
Oh, that kind of ringleader.
Jackass.
That kind of tent.
I think your fucking initials stand for stupid asshole.
I wouldn't argue with you.
This is episode 51 of the Fortean Slip. I don't even know what to call it. Although I did see, and I was telling you before the show that I saw this meme. I hate fucking memes generally, but I saw this meme of the Ricola commercial, dude, and it just said
Ricola.
Ebola.
I don't even have to see that meme. Is it meme or meme?
I don't know what the fuck it is.
I don't either. But anyway, I don't even have to see that one to make it. It sounds funny.
Oh,
so.
God. So, yeah, the end of the world's coming. Ebola's made it. Fucking some nurse was a dumbass. I guess, allegedly. From what they're saying, it was a breach in protocol is why she wound up contracting the virus.
Okay.
But it's it is kind of crazy that it's here in the U.S. and I don't know to what degrees we should go to, like, you know, seal off like flights or whatever from certain areas of the world. But from what I know of the disease, it's fairly hard to contract because you have to it's through bodily fluids and contact.
Right.
And it spreads when it hits you, it fucking hits you so fast. And if it kills you really fast. So you don't really have a chance to spread it.
I mean, that cameraman from, what was it, NBC, he died within like a week or something.
Yeah, so I don't know that it should be this huge. You know, it should be an important issue, yes, but I don't know that it should be this huge scare.
Well, I call it the disease du jour. You know, the media likes to pick up on things, and what the hell is that?
Oh, fucking! Because I forgot to shut off my speakers on my computer. And
well, shut the damn things off.
A vast just got a fucking free spot.
Anyway, so I call it the disease du jour. I remember, like, the bird flu and H1N1, and I even remember back to when I was in high school, we weren't allowed to eat apples because they might have alar on them, you know, and the media just takes that shit and runs with it.
Oh yeah, and the media blows everything out of proportion. I'm taken back to, because it's Halloween. There's razor blades in the candy apples, and there's, you know, poison in the fucking candy, and, you know, make sure that there's no marks in the can. Like, that happened to, like, what it was, like two kids,
one kid, maybe
2 or 1 kid, and it was done by a relative. Like, it wasn't
in the 70s or 60s or something.
I can't remember when it was, but I was just like, oh man, that was totally blown out of proportion. Because when I was a kid, I was frightened of that. I remember my family, like, totally buying into it, totally, you know, running with that bullshit. And not that it was bullshit. The story did happen, but the fact that it could happen everywhere else. Could it happen near you? We'll tell you.
Well, yeah, it could, but here's the thing. I was discussing this with my girlfriend the other day, because we were watching one of those old public service announcements from the 70s about Halloween candy, and they were mentioning how people can be mean and put poison in your candy. And I said to her, yeah, because you're going to go to somebody's house their own house, and they're going to give you poison candy so that you can tell the police where they live. I mean, that just doesn't make that much sense to me, you know?
I Yeah, so these viral scares, like, and I don't want to like belittle the fact that Ebola is a dangerous virus. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely, it'll fucking kill you. But um, I kind of think that maybe we should shut down some flights from fucking Africa at this point.
Well,
Um,
maybe from areas where Ebola is known to be, maybe, yeah.
yeah, and I do think like that maybe some screening should be done at the airports right now, as far as people coming into the country. Um, but uh, and now that it's here, who knows if we should, for inside the country. Jesus Christ, what did I do? Just
Well,
have a fucking frog in my throat?
the only thing you can really do is that nurse, I'm sure, is in isolation. You know, the one that just got it. She took care of that guy who came over. What the hell's his name? Douglas something or other. Duncan, that's it. She took care of him, and like you said, there was probably a breach in protocol because you can only get it pretty much through bodily fluids, like,
Yeah,
vomit and semen, and
yeah. I'm
so
looking at the story right now on CNN.com, and it says that at some point there was a breach in protocol, and that breach in protocol resulted in this infection.
right.
Infection. The
So in
Ebola
other words, she drank his vomit
the
or
Ebola
something.
the Ebola treatment protocols work, but we know that even a single lapse or breach can result in infection.
Right.
So, I mean,
And
as long as they're adhering to all the protocols, more than likely nothing's ever going to happen. It's when
well,
it's when, and we're human beings. We're not machines. We don't.
people are going to fuck up, right?
Yeah, people fuck up. People work long hours, especially in hospitals. Anybody who knows anything
Healthcare is
about the
horrible.
healthcare industry, it sucks. It
Yep.
it sucks a bag of dicks. And for some people, that's a wonderful thing. But in this instance, I'm referring to it as a horrible thing. It, I had my mother worked as a CNA for years, and then in a hospital. My father has worked in two different hospitals as in maintenance,
Right.
and it baffles me what goes on in hospitals
Well, I
in
can
this
tell you. I
country.
mean, my girlfriend is a nurse's aide in a nursing home, and so you know, sometimes she's by herself, and it's just she doesn't have help, and you're going to breach protocol. It's just the way that kind of situation works. You
You're
have to
forced into it.
sometimes. Absolutely.
These companies literally put you in that position, and what do you do? Like, it's either you say, no, I'm just not going to work, and they more than
Fire
likely
you.
will fire you. I
Right.
mean, and then you have to prove, whatever, if you want to go after them. But just a sick situation. So, I mean, like I said, to some degree, I understand the danger of this thing being here. But at the same time, in a lot of cases, healthcare workers are trying really hard, you know,
Oh
to
yeah, no
make
doubt.
sure that everybody's okay. But like you and I were saying, people are human. They're not always
Right.
going to be perfect. They're gonna falter. They're gonna be tired. Some of these doctors are working crazy shifts, and nurses, and CNAs for that matter.
Right.
I'm sure your girlfriend's working crazy hours as a
Sometimes
CNA.
she does, man. Somebody calls off and she gets mandated. She's got to work, till another 8 hours, another 8 hour shift on top of the 8 hour shift she just worked. I mean,
Yep.
people get tired when you do that shit. So you're working 16 straight hours. Now, it doesn't happen every day, but it does happen. And so mistakes are going to be made. So, yeah, people are going to get Ebola in the United States. Now, is it as dangerous as they want us to believe it is, the media? I
No,
really
no.
doubt it.
I think you're gonna find in a year we're all gonna be like, oh, It's Ebola.
What?
Yeah.
Ebola who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing with. Was there any cases of the bird flu in the United States? You know,
I honestly,
even if there
I
was,
honestly
it
don't
wasn't
remember.
the. I remember everybody being scared shitless
It's
about
that
that.
fucking forgettable though, Steve.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Everybody was scared shitless about that. But I don't know anybody who ever got it, and I doubt you do.
No, I don't
Or
fucking.
H1N1
I
or
remember, I remember being such a fucking douche, like, cause I have young kids, and at that point in time, oh, they were much younger than they are now, cause that was quite a few years ago. Now, but I remember like actually calling my ex-wife, and being like, "Is this something we should be like kind of worried about?" Like a fucking douchebag,
right.
but. I now seeing how understanding how a little bit better how things in the media work and how they overbloat these stories for their own ratings. It is just it's disheartening to some degree.
Well, it is. But they do it with everything. I mean, it's not just the disease of the day. I mean, it can be, these political things or, what is that ISIS shit? That everything gets blown out of proportion. And then you get your social media that makes it even worse. So you got Facebook and every other story is a fucking Ebola story,
Yeah,
And some of them are from these really wacky websites that, aren't really true.
yeah. So I don't. I mean, I really don't know how to feel about it. I mean, it is kind of scary that it's here in a sense, and I do want proper action to be taken. But you run into those fine lines, I guess, where, are we trampling on people's rights? And
Yeah, whatever.
exactly, it's like, whatever. But at the same time, what does it lead to down the line? You know what I
Right.
mean? So I honestly don't know what the answer is to the question when it comes to the Ebola crisis.
Well, here's my thing about this.
Will you get it?
Ebola. Anyway, so here's my whole thing about this is someday there is going to be a pandemic or whatever, and the media will have us so desensitized to this bullshit that everybody's going to die.
That's
you know what I mean.
Hey, that's not a bad point. I'm not gonna shit on you for that point. That's not a bad point.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like the boy who cried wolf, man. It's what media does, and so eventually, someday, there's going to be something that we're just going to all ignore because we're so sick and tired of Ebola and H1N1 and LR on our apples and school shootings and all. And we're just going to ignore shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that's where I'm at with
things
this.
get bloated out of proportion for all of those things. All of them. Not just one.
Every one of them.
Everything. Like when they run with a story, when they all decide to go with it, they are all in. They go balls deep. They slap that ass. Let me tell you. Holy shit.
Here's the thing. I don't even watch the news anymore. I got so sick of watching the news. But you still can't get away from this shit because you're on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or whatever,
I've done pretty well. I've done pretty well for myself staying away from the fucking news. Like I'll grab some of these stories. These things like Ebola you can't escape. You can't escape. Well,
you can't escape that.
You can't escape Ebola, Steve.
Well, you can.
No, you can't.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, we're all gonna die. You can't escape stories like that. You're absolutely right. Because I jump on, Facebook, and there's a fucking sidebar now of stuff that's trending, and Ebola's of course in there. But I've done fairly well for myself as far as like I don't have any like network TV in the house, so I don't listen to I don't watch any of that, and I don't watch any news. I refuse to. And I only really listen to talk radio, and it's all, Opie Radio now. It's not
Right.
Opie and Anthony. And, you know, Anthony on his show, but it's two separate things now. But that's all I listen
Right.
to. You know, so
But even listening to just that,
and
you're going to
yes,
hear about
yeah, because they
some of this
bring
stuff.
up topical shit. So
Right.
I'll catch the stuff that they talk about. But I've done really well for myself as far as staying out of all the other bullshit. Because if
Yeah. Well,
I
me
learned
too.
long ago, I have uncles and a father that just sit there and watch the news and stew. They just sit
Well,
there.
that used to be me, man.
Oh,
It used to be me. And
I
so one day I woke up and I'm like, what the fuck? Why do I even care, you know, about any of this shit? Because I was a really big political junkie at one time, you know. So I would listen to talk radio a lot, but it was all that political shit. And I won't tell you my political affiliation, but then one day I woke up, the guy I listened to fucked up in real life, not on the radio. And I'm like, really? And so I just quit. And then I took down, you know, I used to listen to Fox News, CNN, CNBC, all that shit. And just listening, just, you know, all day long. I'd wake up in the morning and put the Today Show on, you know. But it got so that you just don't want to hear the shit no more.
yeah.
So now I don't even watch any network TV, period. I don't watch any cable television news channels anymore. And most of what I watch is like on Hulu or Netflix or
Yeah,
YouTube.
I'm the same way. It's you know, it's YouTube, Netflix, or DVDs. I don't watch normal TV. I don't have cable. I don't have satellite. I don't even have one of those little digital boxes to get the local channels.
And a lot of the reason I don't is because of stories like the Ebola shit. You know, I just don't want to hear it anymore, you know, and especially the political nonsense that you hear on TV anymore. It doesn't matter who you vote for; they're all the fucking same.
Oh yeah,
But
they say it's a two-party system. It's a fucking one-party
it's a
system. It doesn't fucking
one-party
matter.
system,
It
right?
it needs to all go away. I said long ago that in this country, they need to do away with the parties and people need to run on platforms, and that's it. There needs
Right.
to be no party, just platforms. People get up.
But that'll
this is-
never happen.
Right, it'll never happen because there's too much money behind the two-party system. So, welcome to America,
So
ladies.
you were all worried. You were all worried, Chris, about your dogs making noise,
And I have
my
to listen to
fucking
your
cat's over
fucking
there
cat.
bellowing his
Yeah.
fucking-
Fucking Jesus.
That's baby Peter. He's not little. I don't know why we call him baby, but he's yeah. He announces his presence whenever he comes in the house. So.
No, that's wonderful. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but my other cat's not in heat anymore.
I wanted to touch on what the I'm looking at the story right now because I didn't do much research before the show. Oh yeah, the
Well,
Emirates.
you don't really need to on this story like that. but-
the Emirates Airline CEO there.
You mean that story?
What he
Okay.
said, what he just said on the MH370 investigation, and we did a couple of, you know, little blurbs on the disappearance of that Malaysian flight, and you know now he's saying that he thinks that probably control was taken of the airplane because they haven't found anything. They haven't found a trace of anything in the ocean, not even a fucking seat
Right.
cushion from this fucking
No,
thing.
I mean usually when an airplane crashes in the ocean, you'll at least find like an oil slick or seat cushions or luggage or somebody's shoe.
Right, something
didn't
out
find
there
anything.
for them to find, and they found nothing.
And just to be clear, we're referring to what was it, about this time last year, wasn't it? Or no, how long has it been?
I can't remember when
It's
that
6 or 8
happened.
months anyway.
It was,
But it's
was
the
a while ago.
Malaysian airline.
It disappeared
airline
on
flight.
it disappeared on March
Right.
8th of I'm going to assume
So
of
it's
this year.
been. I mean, by now something should have at
Right,
least
I mean,
washed up on the shore
yeah.
somewhere.
Something should be somewhere, or we should have seen something from this flight, and it is pretty interesting that, you know, that it's just been glossed over. Nobody's talking about this. It's hush hush. You know, it's business as fucking usual, ladies and gentlemen. Business as usual.
Didn't they just recently have another airplane go down too? Malaysian.
Yeah, I want to
I'm
say
pretty
there was
sure.
another one that they
But
had
I
an
don't
issue
know
with.
that the causes were similar. But yeah, when that story first came out, I know we did a show on it, and I'm pretty sure that I was, hey, it's just an airplane crash, blah blah blah. There's nothing to it, just like I am with this Ebola thing. But now, I mean, it's 6 or 8 months later, and we're still not finding anything on this crash. So something went down. And so was it terrorism? Probably not. They would probably have crashed the airplane. So who took
right,
it?
but
Where'd it go?
that's the question. What was it taken for? Was it taken to be used later on? Who knows?
Well,
Those are the
I
questions where
consulted.
that's where you start to get into speculation and what will happen. Then you start sounding like the fucking news. The fucking
Right.
news
Well, I
stations.
consulted the ultimate source on these kinds of things. Uh, what was his name?
God,
Giorgio Tsoukalos? Yes, God. Giorgio Tsoukalos. And he
Giorgio
says
Tsoukalos,
aliens.
God.
So
I don't know.
it makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it make sense?
It doesn't make sense, but you know, maybe that's why his hair.
But no, anyway.
Maybe that's
I
why his
mean,
hair stands
right
on end.
now we have no idea what happened to this airplane. And it's just, so your conspiracy theories are going to go out the roof. And of course, some people are claiming
Oh,
it was
people! There are
taken by
there are people who have
aliens.
never given up on the whole conspiracy behind this.
Right, and they're at this point, I'm starting to agree with them. There's got to be something going
Yeah,
down.
there's something to this, and definitely should be looked into because something went down, and that's really strange. That's
I don't get into conspiracy theories as much as I used to a lot. Like the JFK thing and all that shit. But
like
on
the
something like
Alex
this,
Jones.
yeah, I'm not that far out, but
It's a false flag
I've
operation.
spent. Well, yeah, I don't even know if there is maybe there is a such thing, but not to the extent that somebody like him puts it out to be. But no, I spent
Alex
hours
Jones is entertaining as fucking hell, by the way.
yeah, I've never actually listened to the guy, but I
Oh
know who he
my
is and I know what he
god.
does.
Like I don't buy into
I've
his
seen
I don't
clips.
buy into his bullshit that much. Like there's some stuff that I do buy into with Alex Jones. Like he's in some stuff he's pretty fucking intelligent. However,
Right.
the guy is a fucking hoot.
Yeah. But I mean, I spent months and months looking into different theories behind the JFK assassination, for example. And I think there was probably some sort of conspiracy, but who knows? But I got away from that stuff because it'll just eat your brain. And that's probably what happened to Mr. Jones.
Yeah,
Fucking ate his brain.
it's
But anyway, with this airplane crash, I'm not going to look into it. I'm not going to find a damn thing, but it's doing the same thing to people. It's just consuming them because it is a mystery, and it's a interesting mystery
it'll be
because
funny if like if
it's
nothing
fucking
ever
weird.
shows up from this plane, like we get to be like 40 years out and people see if people are still fucking having
I
conspiracy
guarantee they will be. I
theories
mean,
about what
there's
happened.
there was that one. Oh, where was that one that crashed and people are still saying a missile shot it down and all this bullshit, and that was like in
Oh,
the 80s or 90s.
yeah, that
So
was a plane that flew out of like I want to say out of New York or New Jersey.
something like that. But yeah, I mean,
And
people are still talking about that. So yeah, somebody will still be talking about this, and there will be TV shows on it, and you know, 20 years from now, we'll be seeing, the Discovery Channel have some sort of fake documentary about it and that kind of thing. But
yeah.
yeah, it'll still be going on because if they haven't found it yet, they're not going to find it.
Yeah, that
So
I think I had brought up that Chris Christopherson movie, Millennium, I think it was called,
you did, yes.
where the people came back from the future to steal people out of planes that were going to crash. Like
That's probably what happened here.
that completely possible at this point, Steve. I mean, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Millennium. I'm going with that was
There was
that was a documentary.
yes, I think it was. You see, I think a lot of your Hollywood movies are actually documentaries in disguise. I really do.
No. And now
Like
on
Teenage
that
Mutant
note,
Ninja
Steve,
Turtles.
on that note, bring us some fucking news.
I wanted to talk about movies.
You can't.
I've never seen any.
Yeah, exactly.
In our first story tonight from metro.co.uk, I love this website. They have a lot of good stories. Ghost possesses a woman, and then she writes letters, or they write letters using her hands. This woman claims she allows ghosts to possess her and then use her hands to write letters. It may sound like a scene from the Ghost film, but Catherine Kennedy swears she is being maneuvered by a spirit that has inhabited. Yeah, well, that's why they referenced the Ghost film. I have seen that one, by the way.
No.
Yes, Ghost. I've seen it. I have it on DVD. I specifically went out and bought that movie.
You just like it for the fucking clay pot scene.
Yes, it is a good scene. But anyway, she claims that she's being maneuvered by a spirit that has inhabited her. She actually even has a YouTube.
It's called a
video.
vibrator.
Could be. Kennedy claims to have brought together her husband, Antonio, and one of his dead friends, Ivo, after writing a letter in Italian, despite not being able to speak it fluently. At first, her husband didn't believe her. Italian dressing? Oh, see, yeah, she wrote it in Italian dressing. Okay, I get it.
Follow that through.
At first, yeah, whatever. Her husband, didn't believe me, but when he read the letters, he said it was obvious it wasn't her. He was amazed at her flawless translation. If that wasn't enough, Kennedy also says she was told what goes on in the afterlife. However, she can't tell you, of course, because the ghosts have made her promise to keep it a secret.
Of course they have.
Well, why wouldn't they? So, from an actual, real, reputable website, ABC News, thousands of venomous spiders, force a family from their home. A family was driven from their home in suburban St. Louis by thousands of venomous spiders that fell from the ceiling and oozed from the walls.
It was like
Brian and Susan Trost
arachnophobia. Fucking John Goodman showed up.
I've never seen that either.
Oh, I didn't.
Brian and Susan Trost bought the $450,000 home overlooking two golf holes at Whitmore Country Club in Weldon Springs in October of 2007, and soon afterwards started seeing brown recluse spiders everywhere. Well, those are scary. The St. Louis Dispatch reported, once when showering, Susan Trost dodged a spider as it fell from the ceiling and washed down the drain. She told St. Louis television station KMOV-TV in 2012 that the spider started bleeding out of the walls, and at least two pest control companies were unable to eradicate the infestation. The couple filed a claim. Why are we reading a story that happened in 2012, Chris?
I don't know, because it was
trending. I don't know. They just posted it. Okay. Anyway, at a civil trial in St. Charles County in October 2011, University of Kansas biology Professor Jamal Sandridge, considered one of the nation's leading brown recluse researchers, estimated there were between 4,500 and 6,000 spiders in the home. Making matters worse, he said those calculations were made in the winter when spiders are least active. The jury awarded the couple slightly more than... Yeah, it is. I can't help but thinking, being considered one of the nation's leading brown recluse researchers has to be even worse than being considered one of the nation's leading Bigfoot researchers. But that's just my take on things. I don't know. The jury awarded the couple slightly more than $472,000, but the former owners declared bankruptcy. So the insurance company still didn't pay anything, and the couple moved out 2 years ago. The home, now owned by the Federal National Mortgage Association, was covered with 9 tarps this week, and workers filled it with gas that permeated the walls to kill the spiders and their eggs. There'll be nothing alive after this, said Tim McCarthy, president of the company hired to fix the problem once and for all.
Wow.
Yeah, good story. From 2008.
Hey,
Jezebel.com.
it's not my fault that they post it now.
Well, they posted it now because this week they finally decided to kill the spiders that these people had to live with for, 6 or 7 years.
They're fucking killing these motherfuckers.
Brown recluse spiders are the devil. That's what I've heard.
Satan incarnate.
From Jezebel.com. American Horror Story in Real Life. Creepy clowns stalk a California town. If you have calorophobia or even aversion to calorophobia is a fear of clowns. Steve. You did know that calorophobia, or is it colorophobia? Calorophobia.
I don't fucking know.
Is a fear of clowns, didn't you? But anyway, if you have that or an aversion to clowns, you may not want to listen to this because there are a lot of clowns here, and they're all doing something strange in the town of Wasco, California. They're wandering around late at night, clown style. Dressing up to wander the streets in clown makeup at night is, of course, not a crime in itself, but the people who are doing the dressing up must know that there's going to be some frightened townspeople, especially now that there's a creepy clown who literally stabs people to death with scissors in broad daylight when anyone can see it on television. It says on television. If I were living in Wasco, I would move out immediately. Nothing good comes from clowns. Nothing good will ever come from clowns, and I stand firm on this. I'm reading as the author of the article, by the way.
Oh.
Stop taking pictures of the clowns, citizens of Wasco. They're just lulling you into a false sense of comfort. This story actually has an update, Chris. The Wasco clown has an Instagram account and says that the late night antics are a photo project between him and his wife. Fortunately for nearby Bakersfield, an unidentified copycat is probably a legitimate evil monster.
Yeah.
You picked that story.
Hey,
so.
I can't fucking knock them out of the park every week.
No. Also from the metro.co.uk. Ghost of great-grandma appears in the womb of an ultrasound scan. Sounds legitimate.
Yeah.
A ghostly image which appears to be
Grandma's
the
in your womb.
great-grandmother watching over her unborn great-grandchild has been detected in a 3D ultrasound scan. The face of Kathy McHale appeared slowly in the scan and stayed on screen. And son Joe and wife Lindsay, 33. See, they did it again. They have to give the age.
Your daughter Carol Ann's in your womb.
Have kept the.
Somebody's got to stick their head in your vagina.
These people kept this video of the eerie visit to show their daughter when she's born. After she's born. Kathy's apparition has also appeared in the family home, where John says Madison, now 6, spoke. Oh, Madison must be their older daughter. Why would you want to show? I don't even know. Spoke of an old lady with white hair in the front room and on the stairs, just like her great Nan Kath, even though she never met her. The couple from Sidcup in London took home the home video scan. I need to learn to read, Chris. Took home the video scan.
I think I've been saying that for quite a long fucking time now.
After John's mom spotted Kathy's ghostly face on screen. Prison custody officer John, I guess that's what he does for a living, said, "We didn't see it at first, but my mom was in the hospital with us, and she said she had seen it on the screen. She told us to take it home and watch it, and that's when we noticed it. I like to think there is a relative watching over Madison, and we think the face looks a lot like my grandmother Kathy." Madison now watches the video of the unearthly visitation with a big grin on her face, John says. I've seen this ultrasound picture, and it's a clear case of pareidolia, but whatever. That is
No.
the
Really, Steve? You don't think that
well,
you don't think that Nana's in the womb?
unless Grandma Kath, looks like, you know, a blob of nothingness, then I'm just saying. But that's the news, Chris.
That's the news?
Another fine reading of the news.
Yeah, you do. Okay, yeah.
Isn't there supposed to be like some music now?
No, no,
Oh, don't we end the show with music?
no. We're completely unprofessional. We suck.
Uh,
I'm a ringleader.
thought-
I'm a ringleader, Steve.
I thought you were this great mastermind of evil.
Mastermind of evil. I lurk in the shadows. I'm coming for everyone.
There it is.
Look out, people. This was episode 51 of the Fortean Slip. Like us on YouTube. Subscribe. Like the video. Comment. Does good things for us.
It does.
It makes my pee-pee hard.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that.
So we'll be back next week. We'll do some news sometime this week, maybe.
Maybe.
Mm.
Sure. Why not? What the hell?
You're down, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
I kind of figured, but yeah.